It's over. Bradford City's great winning run has come to an end. Unbeaten run, 4 wins in a row, 7 games unbeaten. We've only just a one draw in that. We did previously only lose one game in 2025 with a lot of wins, barely any draws. I think only 2 draws were in that. And unfortunately, we have just lost today 1-0 to Gillingham. That's over. But the promotion race, it's just took a stalling. We're still second, we've still got 66 points, we're still 6 points clear of fourth, and we're still 2 points away from top of the league. Walsall, who also lost today. Port Vale drew. Doncaster drew. Obviously, Notts County lost because Wimbledon won. But results went our way as much as we'd like. Obviously, we lost. It's not very nice, is it? It's been a long time since it's happened. Another away defeat, but we've got 2 home games coming up against Tranmere and Colchester, 2 teams that have, manager bouncing Tranmere, not going to be easy, and Colchester are on a fantastic run themselves. I think they are the second best team in terms of form, so they're not going to be easy. But I think the disappointing thing is the fact that Gillingham, it's probably the most favourable fixture that we had left. To be honest, when you look at their poor run, the atmosphere, the mood the fans were in, the lack of goal scoring that the players, had in the team, and they just looked a bit of a pushover team recently at this tournament of the year. And then they found a way to win against Bradford City at home, and it was a horrid game of football. One of those games where you've just got to scrap your way to get 3 points, and Gillingham did that. They won the physical battles. They made it an awful game for us, and it was typical Gillingham performance. When I think of Gillingham, I think of a big robust side who win the aerial duels, are good from set pieces, don't give anything away defensively. The fans get right behind them, but right against the referee, shouting for every decision. I've never heard out like it. It was disgusting and disgraceful, but you know what? You can't argue against it because it's what should happen. You should be calling for all sorts of stupid decisions, and on another day, referee could fall for them, but he didn't. I thought referee had quite a decent game, but unfortunately, we just couldn't control that game how we have been. Normally, we have a domination against teams. We have a 10-15 minute momentum surge where we create loads of chances and we put them under heaps of pressure. We didn't really do that. We had a few momentum obviously surges where we had them pen back, but we didn't get as many chances away. They were really resilient defensively, and then they had a bit of pace on the break, which caused us problems. I don't like saying they didn't deserve it when a team's won, because I'd say on the whole of the game, I'd say it was quite an even game, probably deserved a point, but at the end of the day, they defended well and they took the chance when they got it. Not many players who played today have had an off day for a number of months now. It was just one of those games when no one really had a good game. We've been having 7 and 8s, and a lot of players dropped below that to maybe a 6. And it probably was a 6, but with how well we've been doing, 7/8 is a standard, and that's a promotion standard. When you drop to a 6, it feels like it's a 4. And a lot of players dropped to an average level, and we went to play their game. Like I said, we didn't have a lot of control in that game. Whereas in previous games, yes, Cheltenham, it was quite one-touch football, but in the right areas, and it were accurate. Whereas in this game, there were a lot of stray passes, and it just didn't fall our way, unfortunately. And those sort of games happen, and it's how you bounce back from them. When we lost to Wimbledon 1-0, which was a very similar game, it were quite a horrid game, quite one-touchy, quite oofy. Not a lot between the sides, not many chances here or there, and they took their chance from a lapse of concentration. It were, a ball in from Jay Creeve, so back post, we switched off and they scored, and that were very similar. The corner came in, it wasn't dealt with. Jack Shepherd didn't get goal side of his man, sort of lost where the ball was, and he gets it on target and it goes in the back of the net, and it was very, very similar game. And we then bounced back and we went on that great unbeaten and winning run. Amongst that, with a good point against Newport. That was the only game, but we didn't win in those 7 games, and we had 10 men. We great character, great resilience, and that's what we have to show again. And if we can put that one together again, we will go up. But the concern is, if we do take it poorly, if we don't react well to it, where will that leave us? And that's the uncertainty after a defeat. But the fact is, when you look at the teams around us, Walsall, 2 wins in 12, I think. somewhat ridiculous like that, or that might have been Gillingham's, but it's around the 10 mark of only having 2 wins. They've been on a terrible run, and they've got some tricky fixtures coming up. Notts County have only won 1 in 6. They're turning against the manager. Port Vale being on a great run. In fairness, they have 2 games in hand. Doncaster hitting a bit of a bumpy ride, and Wimbledon, they're poor away and they keep drawing. So teams are also slipping up around us. So we're in a great position. We've got the points on the board. We hold the cards, and it is completely in our hands. And we've just got to make sure we bounce back. And we've got 2 home games. We're the best home team in the league, so we've got to take the game to Tranmere and Colchester, show no fear, and play the way we have been previous to this, because we did go away from our game, and it wasn't good enough because of how well we've been performing. Like I say, we probably just dropped to a 6. A lot of players just dropped off a bit, and it is how you react and how you bounce back. Now, the lineups come into much questioning by the fans, and I get why some might have overreacted, because I think it is an overreaction, any criticism from that, because we can't take away from that great run we've been on and how well the players have been playing. They don't turn bad overnight, and they're not gonna. It's a flash in the pan performance, and that's how the results have been. We've just got to regroup, and that, as a fan base as well, yes, criticise. There's been some poor performances. Lee's come in with a lot of stick, and somewhat deserved. He's not a striker. I saw someone say he was a bit like Havertz. He's not an 8, he's not a 10, he's not a 9. But he can sort of do them all to a competent level, but he ain't good enough for where we need to be. And he missed a great chance. 8 minutes into the game, he's 1-on-1 with the keeper. He didn't open up his body and just sort of toe poked it into the keeper's midriff, and it's chances like that you've got to be taking. They're the difference. And if Mellon won, would he have scored? I'd have banked on him too. We were saying the same with Kavanagh 2-3 months ago. He also had a couple of number of good chances in behind the fence, or just pop shots that he just didn't do enough with. But he's had to rotate as Alexander, and he's been forced to, and there's fitness concerns, but he has been forced to rotate with a lot of it, and I give him credit for it, so I'm not going to criticise it now. That team selection, he couldn't have done much more with it. Huntington, I thought, came in and did a good job. You look at Lapsley, Walker, they played well in midweek, and the only sort of rotation question you'd have is taking Mellon out for Lee, but Mellon went off with a knock on Tuesday, so he's probably trying to protect him. We can't have so many players getting injured in those forward areas. When you look at the bench, it was very similar to the Birmingham bench. We had Neil Byrne, Dominic Critchlow, Callum Johnson, Tariq Wright, all on the bench. That's such a poor bench for defensive players. You don't need that many defensive players on a bench, but Clark Udvar was the only attack-minded player who was left out the squad. So it says a lot about him, but that there weren't many options that he could have done with that team, and he obviously rolled the dice. He brought all 5 substitutes on. Neil Byrne for Keller was a questionable one, but I'm sure there was reasons and the substance behind that. Tariq Wright came on with his Batman mask, and it obviously impacted his performance. In little moments it were getting in his way. He brought Mellon and Kavanagh on, and they didn't really have that impact. But he couldn't have done much more with the squad apart from putting Mellon on up front, and he came off with a knock on Tuesday night. So I don't have a problem with the squad that he selected. They give 110%, and that's all I can ask. I can't sit here and go, this player didn't put everything into that performance. It was, things didn't go our way, and just the standard dropped, and we've got to make sure that intensity of the way we move, the movement off the ball, everything's got to be raised now, because there's going to be that added pressure, and they've got to put it on themselves, because they can only improve from that performance. It wasn't at the standard, but like I say, I don't get. I'm not going to put loads of criticism in, because I don't think there was. I don't think we were far away. We could have created more. We should have, but I don't think there were a big difference between the sides, apart from we just didn't defend that set piece well enough. We didn't put our bodies on the line well enough, in terms of stopping that. And if we did that, it's a 0-0 draw. I don't think anyone can complain about that, and you move on with the momentum. We've got to forget about that now and move on. And I think it is a game too far. You look at the amount of games we've had to play. We've been Saturday, Tuesday. We've been on that winning run, so you go, if you come away from that, is it going to hinder us? But you see the the drop off from today, and you see the bench and the options, and it is testament to Walker and Lapsley. They did well. They put in a shift, but when you see the difference of not having Sarsfield, Patterson, and Poynton, they're the reasons why we are where we are. Those key players, those star men, are what get you out of a division. And when you haven't got those players for a number of games, that's where you see the drop off in performance, and they're going to be coming back. April time. Sarsfield, Patterson will be back in April. Poynton, I don't actually know what's wrong with him, but I'd assume it'd be a couple of weeks. So they're going to start coming back. We've got a week off. We can re-energise. We can have a full week's training, which we haven't had for ages. And I think this will do them the world of good. Whatever happens Tuesday, there's some big games happening around us Tuesday, but whatever happens, we're still second. We've still got 66 points on the board, which is a very healthy number of points to be having in March. 80 points normally does it. That's 14 more points, and you've got to be confident that we can pick them up. Like I say, most favourable game arguably going into the running. We haven't got an easy running, but I've got confidence in this team. I've got faith in this team. We've gone such a long way that we have to bounce back now. We've come so far to not respond to this setback. It would throw away a lot of hard work that they've done. So let's continue to get behind them. We've got a £5 ticket game for Colchester. Let's get as many of your friends and family down and support them for that. We've got Tranmere. They've not been a good side this season. They've got a bounce, but let's end their bounce. Gillingham ended our run. Runs are there to be ended, certainly. So let's go and do that, and let's go and continue our home record, which has been absolutely fantastic this season. Let's go on another winning run, because we've got more than enough ability to do so. But let me know your thoughts, because I'm sure there may be a bit of disagreement. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. It is a disappointing game. It's a disappointing day, but we can't let it affect us. We've got to move on now. We weren't going to win every game. We knew that. This is the sort of game where you didn't want to drop points in. But I'd much rather have lost to a Gillingham side who are 16th and have gone on this poor run than lose to Notts County and lose to Doncaster. Because if we win them, they're the games that get you promotion, and we can definitely do it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you're new. It's all free to do, so it does massively help out and it's massively appreciated. Have a good one.